Hello everybody. Today we'll see how to read and how to analyze one of a famous morality play called Mankind. First of all, just from the title you can understand that it's an allegory. Mankind means not one individual but someone who represents all of us. Mankind. The passage, the play, begins with Mercy. Mercy, as you know, is a good person. He wants to help the protagonist, called Mankind, with his advice, good advice. So in a way, when he speaks the words of God, his name, Mercy, is not he doesn't have an individual name like Tom Smith. It's called Mercy because mercy is a quality and is an allegory. Mercy means understanding, compassion. So this character has compassion for the other human beings and he wants to help them. And the first thing that he says is his name and what is his purpose, his function in this play. He says, Mercy is my name that mourns for your offense. So I am one who is sad for your sins. Divert not yourself in time of temptation, so that you may be acceptable to God when you go hence. So don't be tempted, because if you commit sin, on the last day, on the last judgment day, God will send you to hell. Don't devote your love to transitory things. Behold not the earth, but lift up your eyes to the heavens. So don't don't love only what is temporary, not eternal. So instead of looking at the earth down, looking at material things, look up into the sky to God. There is no such food on water or on land so precious, so glorious, so necessary to our intent, for it had freed mankind from the bitter bond of the mortal enemy, that venomous serpent, from he who God may preserve you from at the last judgment. So, there's nothing in this life, either on water, on the oceans, or on land, that is so valuable, so precious, that can help us to free ourselves from the temptation of the mortal enemy, the snake of the Garden of Eden, that is, the devil. May God help us to not be tempted, otherwise on the day of the last judgment, on the last day on earth, God will punish us. For certainly there shall be a strict examination. The corn shall be saved, and the chaff shall be burned. I beseech you heartily to keep these meditations in mind. He says, for it's sure that on the last judgment day, God will be really strict. He will divide you good and bad. And now he proposes an example that the audience can understand, because they are farmers, and so they know very well this example. He says that corn is the heart, the central part of wheat. It is the part that is used to make flour and so bread. So the corn, the heart of the wheat, is the valuable thing. All the rest, the chaff, the leaves, and so on, will be burnt, destroyed, because they have no use. And so he says, the corn, that is the soul, is a metaphor. So the corn is the soul, shall be saved after we die. And the chaff, that is the temporary things, In other words, our physical body shall be destroyed, shall really be destroyed. I beseech you heartily, I warn you to keep these meditations in mind. Don't forget what I've just said. Now, at this point, there is one other character, a temptation. It's called mischief, and the name means everything. He says, with a mocking tone, he's making fun, he's bullying Mercy. I beseech you heartily to leave your flattering, leave your chaff, leave your corn, leave your silliness. So I pray you with all my heart to abandon your flattering, your empty words. Leave your chaff of the example before. Leave your corn, leave your silliness. He's making fun. He's repeating the same words of Mercy, but with an intonation that is just to ridicule him. And then he says, oh, your wit is little, but your head is big. So your mind, your intelligence, is very little, but your head, because you think to be important, is very big. You are full of predication. You are full of words that mean nothing. But sir, I pray, answer this one question. And now he wants to interact, and he wants to ridicule Mercy. How? With a nonsense. A nonsense. It is some words, some sounds that are musical, pleasing to the ear, but they mean not much. And so he says, mish, mash, drift, draff, some was corn and some was chaff, some was corn and some was crap. Now, mish, mash, drift, draff they mean nothing. It's just, sounds. Some was corn, some was chaff, so some of these sounds were corn, some were chaff, some were corn, and some was crap. Crap is another word for excrement. So it was nothing. What is the reaction of Mercy? Why do you come here, brother? You were not wanted. So he's disturbing. Mischief is disturbing his preaching. And so he doesn't want him. And Mischief, he continues, he uses the same words, and he answers truthfully to Mercy. And he says, I came for a winter corn thresher that I have hired. So I came here. Why am I here? Because I went here to find somebody to work in my farm. A thresher is a person who works in a farm to collect corn in winter. You yourself said that the corn should be saved and the chaff should be burned. And now he's repeating the same words. Now, okay, you said this, to save the corn and to burn the chaff, right? And this proves not as it should be, as this verse exemplifies. But what you said proves the opposite, as I'm going to demonstrate it to you. Now, the following sentence, careful, there is, after some nouns, bread is a noun, it's not a verb, horse is a noun, it's not a verb, and fire is the noun, there is the ETH that was used in the past to create a verb. So, he says, corn serveth breadeth, chaff horseth, and straw fireth. So, in other words, corn served to make bread, chaff to feed the horses, and straw to make fire. This is as much to say to your ignorant misunderstanding. Don't you see how silly, ignorant you are? And he continues, the corn should be afeard of the next baking. The chaff shall provide well for the horse. When a man is over cold, the straw may be burnt, and so forth, etc. So here is demonstrated the logic of what he said. In fact, the corn is afraid of being put into the oven, into the fire to make bread. The chaff is useful. In fact, can be food for a horse. And when a man feels very, very cold, the straw, the part that is not useful, according to Mercy, can be burnt in a fire, and so can make him feel warm, and so on. Mercy is disturbed, and he says, "Leave off, brother. You are wrong to interrupt when I say something important." So he is really annoyed, and he tells Mischief to leave him, because he has to say something important. And Mischief answers in the same, he says, "You want me to leave? Sir, I have no horse or saddle, so I may not ride. How can I leave if I don't have a horse or a saddle to put on a horse?" And then Mercy says, impassioned, "Go then on foot, my friend. In God's name, go." So, if you don't have a horse, walk, my friend. Walk. Leave me, in the name of God. And then this chief, who enjoys making fun, bullying people, says, "But I have come here to play a game with you. Now, if you order me to not go in the devil's name, maybe I will stay." So here there is a double negative, because if you tell me not to go in the name of the devil, that is, if you tell me to go in another name, I will stay. In other words, if you tell me to go in the name of the devil, I will leave. If you tell me to go in the name of God, I will stay. At this point, there are some other players that come on stage, and these are other voices. New Guys, not, for example. New Guy says, "Look, the minstrel plays and the fool joins in the common dance. Beat on his drum, the belly, until it bursts." So they introduce music. They want to entertain the audience. How? With music and dance and making fun. So he says, "Look, the musician is playing, and the fool, because the fool was a typical character of the Middle Ages, the person who makes, jokes, joins in the common dance." The common dance was a typical dance when there were celebrations, a popular dance. And how can he play music? Simple. If he doesn't have an instrument, he can play on his belly, as if it were a drum, until it explodes. Not says, he's not happy. He doesn't want to do this violent acting. And he says, "What if I break my neck in this foolishness? And what if I hurt myself?" New Guy says, "I don't care, I sent in." He doesn't care what happens to him. Nowadays, says the other voice, "Come on, leap about lively. You are a manly man. Let us be merry while we are all together." He says, "Jump with all your energy. You must be a man. Be courageous. Let us enjoy ourselves while we are here all together." And it's not sure. So he says, "So I should break my neck to entertain you too? So I should hurt myself, break my bones, make myself, make damage to myself, just to make you laugh?" Nowadays says, "Yes, and be careful how you talk to us." Not at this point has no choice. So he says, "Okay, curse both of you villains. But what the hell? Let's get crazy." And they dance. So he says, "Okay, it doesn't matter. I'll do what you want. So let's get crazy. Let's do something crazy, and let's dance all together on the stage." Mercy sees this. He doesn't like it, because they are creating chaos, dancing, shouting, How can he preach? How can he help the audience? There is such a chaos. And he says, stop it. Stop this behavior right now. Stop what you're doing just now. Nowadays answers, oh my, stop. Come on. Old man doesn't know where to have any fun. If we stop now, how can we enjoy ourselves? And not says, oh, indeed, I beg you, Mercy, for I don't like your attitude. Try a little dancing, lighten up, don't be so stiff, get crazy with us. And not wants to invite Mercy. He says, oh, Mercy, I don't like you, the way you do things, your attitude. You are too serious. Try doing something, a little dance. Lighten up. Be not so heavy, so rigid. Don't be stiff. Stiff is rigid. Get crazy with us. Move yourself. Dance. Mercy says, no, I certainly will not dance with you, because dance is not something important for him. And new guy says, would you prefer that we make you dance? Do you want us to force you to dance? And now we move to the moment when enter mankind, the protagonist of the story. Mankind, as you know, is one of us, represents humanity. Mercy, when he sees mankind, is very happy, and he says, Christ send you good comfort. You are welcome, my friend. Stand up on your feet. Please get up. My name is Mercy. We are lucky to meet up. I will tell you how to avoid vice. So Mercy is happy to see mankind. He says, oh, God has sent you. You are very welcome. Now stand up. And he introduces himself. My name is Mercy. We are lucky to have met, and I will tell you how to avoid temptation. Mankind is happy. Oh, Mercy, I'm glad it's you I've found. I've heard of your upstanding reputation and learning. You are close to God and know well His counsel. He has made you His most important virtue. Ah, your lovely words will be honey to my soul. So, he says, Mercy, I'm so happy to have found you. You are very famous for your reputation and for your learning, for the things you know. And I know you are very close to God, and you know well what to do to please God. He has made you His most important virtue. Don't forget, morality play is a battle, a fight between virtues, like mercy, and vices, the sins. For your lovely words will be sweet to me. And Mercy now continues his speech on how to avoid temptation, how to go to heaven. He says, you must resist the temptations of the flesh like a man, for there will always be a battle between the soul and the body. He refers to the fact that in that period, according to the Christian doctrine, we had the body, there was the physical body, there was the source of temptation, and the soul. So life is a battle between the soul and the physical body. And then he says in Latin, but here is in English, the life of man on earth is a battle. So he's quoting a holy book, a scripture. And then he continues, defeat your spiritual enemy and become Christ all night. Never be afraid of the adversary. If you want to be rewarded by God, you must be ready for the fight. So, fight against the devil and become a knight, a soldier of Christ. Don't be afraid of your enemy. If you want that God accept you in heaven, you must be ready to fight the devil. And he continues, try your best and God will be your helper. God will be there to help you if you try to be good. Remember, my friend, your time on earth, so help me God, is but a season. He reminds mankind that life is short, it's just a season. Spend it well. Serve God with your heart's loyalty. Do not unsettle your brain with strong ale or wine. So, he says, spend your time well. Serve God with all your heart. Do not unsettle your brain, that is, don't make your brain unable to decide what is good and what is wrong, drinking too much ale, is beer, or wine, being intoxicated. And then he says, moderation is a great treasure. This is the key word in his speech, moderation. Avoid extremes. I do not forbid you to drink, but moderate yourself and be wary of overindulgence. He says, I'm not telling you don't drink at all beer or wine, but moderate, limit how much the quantity of wine or beer you drink. Reject overindulgence and cease when you have had your fill. Reject drinking too much and stop when you know that you are drunk enough. If a man has a horse and he stables him modestly, he will then be able to control him when he needs to. But if he overfeeds him, the horse will be disobedient and may someday dump him in the mire. Now he refers to an example that the farmers, the people in front of him, can understand. If you have a horse, and if you stable the horse, if you give the horse food in a moderate way, you will be able to control your horse when you need to control the animal. But if you give too much food to the horse will become disobedient, and one day he may also throw into the ground from his back. New guys now wants to play, and he wants to bully Mercy, and he says, "Oh, you say true, sir, you are no liar." So he reinforces the idea, and apparently he seems serious, but when he explains why he agrees with Mercy, we understand it's to make fun of him. In fact, I have fed my wife too well, and she has become my master. Yes, I know that your example is true. In fact, I have given too much food to my wife, and now she is my master. She controls me. In fact, I now have a great wound on my head, and on it is a poultice. In fact, she hurt my head, and now on my head, as you can see, I have a bandage to treat the wound. So she beat me on my head with a stick. And if my wife were your horse, she would curse you. So, and if my wife were your horse, she will tell very negative things about you, because she likes eating a lot. If you propose to give my wife little food, she will not be happy. You feed your horse moderately, and you are a wise man. It's obvious that if you give to your horse a moderate amount of food, you are very wise. You know how to do it. In fact, I believe that if you were the king's stableman, good horses would be scarce. In fact, I believe that in the horses of the king are not very good. The majority of them are not very good because they have a lot of food, as the king is very rich. Now that's the end of the extract from Mankind. And after this, I would like you to reflect on this question. Today, after so many centuries, after this play, can this old play still teach us something about entertainment, about how to convey a message, and so on? This is something you should reflect upon. Okay, bye bye.